Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, we're going to be talking about the ending of the third season of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. After successfully escaping from Dr. Wu and the mercenaries sent to Isla Nublar, the campers make their way out to sea on a boat owned by Kenji's father. But while sailing away from the island, it's revealed that something of an aggressive and possibly even carnivorous dinosaur has also hopped on board. So now that Camp Cretaceous has been out for a few days, I figured it was time for us to talk about the cliffhanger and what kind of dinosaur could possibly be on the other side of that door on Kenji's boat. And speaking of doors, let's get the obvious one out of the way first. Velociraptors have always been known to have the intelligence to operate and open doors ever since the first movie. So the idea of Blue, or maybe even an unknown raptor, possibly taken from the expanded lore game like Aftermath, making their way onto the boat, isn't exactly crazy in my opinion. Blue had previously made a lair in the old visitor center from the original Jurassic Park, but now that this building is destroyed and in ruins, she could have snuck on and gotten stuck there for some pretty wild problems that this group would have to deal with out at sea. Then of course there is the other small-sized carnivore that could have made its way onto the ship. Monolophosaurus is a dinosaur that was both introduced in Season 3, as well as shown some pretty unique behavioral tics that would have made for the perfect candidate of a stowaway creature. While these guys were pretty aggressive and vicious in large packs, only one of them being stuck on the boat would actually prove to be a really interesting twist, because we learned earlier in the season that they're actually not that savage when they're not in their hunting groups. Now, it's still a meat-eating and particularly dangerous dinosaur, but with a danger level far below that of the average Velociraptor when you compare them to something like Blue or literally any other dromaeosaur we've seen so far. Then of course, there's the really big possibility that I'm sure a lot of people would find to be really cool, and that is the idea that we haven't seen the last of the E750 project just yet. Now, during these new episodes for Camp Cretaceous, Darius reveals that the Scorpios Rex may actually have the ability to reproduce without another mate. This is proven the most likely scenario after the group encounters two of the hybrid dinosaurs on the island, which eventually leads to both the destruction of the 1993 park as well as the hybrids themselves. Now, over the course of Camp Cretaceous, and really the entire franchise as a whole, it's been revealed that the dinosaurs actually have what is known as an accelerated growth rate, which helps them reach maximum size in as short of an amount of time as possible. But if the Scorpios Rex that could be, in theory, on the boat just hatched out of its egg or has just begun to grow, then I think we could have a really interesting twist where the species in which the group had been running from the last season now becomes something of an unlikely ally to them in seasons to come. That is, if this dinosaur is able to somehow imprint or maybe even just take a liking to some of them due to it being so young and new to the world around it. Now that being said, I'm not exactly sure how this thing would even get into the boat and accidentally lock itself in a room, but the idea of a monstrous animal like that carrying over into further seasons is something that I think could be a very fun idea going forward. The hybrid dinosaurs in the Jurassic World series have always been met with something of a mild backlash, or at least a very vocal annoyance by those who don't like anything that isn't a, quote, pure-blood dinosaur. But judging off of the success of animals like the Indominus Rex, Indoraptor, and now even E750, I think the positive reception to creatures like this just dwarfs any sort of rejection that they've been dished out so far. Still, personally, and I said this in the last video I did, I don't really care much for the design of the Scorpios Rex. In fact, even Colin Trevorrow himself is quoted with saying that he thought the thing was one of the ugliest dinosaurs that he'd ever seen, but was later told that that's kind of the whole point. So yeah, I guess seeing one a fraction of the size, which at this point we're dealing with a fraction of the Indominus, would be something interesting and marketable no matter what. Now, that's not to say that we know for certain that this is the dinosaur that's on board Kenji's ship exactly, but in my opinion, I do think that after all of the setting up and lore that they gave us in Season 3, you know, the reproducing on their own, the fact that they have an accelerated growth rate, they're very intelligent, and it was this hybrid dinosaur that they can play with in further, you know, expanded lore, it makes the most sense for another one of these guys being alive and waiting to lash out at the group in Season 4. Still, I do really like the idea of a Monolophosaurus being present as well, so I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what the crew working on this show has to offer for us in the future. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my parkers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in seeing me again. See you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.